how's it guys? Welcome back to Cooking with Chris. There's a bit of a bonus here. It's like 2 videos in 2 days. Nice, eh? Okay, today we are making beef stroganoff. Well, my take on beef stroganoff anyway. So we are going to be starting off with a what you need for this recipe. And we'll run you quickly through the ingredients and then we'll start the cooking process. Okay, let's go. 1 large onion, half a punnet of mushrooms, 100 milliliters of fresh cream, 1 tablespoon of cream cheese, paprika, pepper, 1 beef stock cube with 200 milliliters of water, unsalted butter, 600 grams of beef, 2 cups of rice. The original recipe calls for 10 centimeter strips of sirloin, but as I said, I'm using the remainder of the beef fillet from the Chateaubriand video. You can find the link to that video in a card in the top right hand side of your screen. They've been cut into chunks as opposed to strips because this is the remainder of the filet mignons that you would have seen on the Chateaubriand video. The original recipe comes out of my favorite kitchen book called the Complete South African Cookbook by Magdaleen van Wyk. I will put the link to the Take-A-Lot site down below in the description box. If you'd like to order it online, feel free to do so. It goes for about 220 Rand and it has got a fantastic series of recipes in there. Alright, we're starting off by melting some butter in the pan. Then we're going to be chucking in the meat. Now that the butter's melted, in goes the meat. All we're doing here is just browning the meat a little bit so that when we eventually do put it into the sauce, then it will finish cooking off in the sauce and will absorb some of those flavors. Right, now the meat is brown, we have removed it from the pan. We can use the same pan. We're keeping the font at the bottom because that's going to help to provide a little bit more flavor from the beef into the onions. And then I'm just going to add 2 teaspoons of garlic paste. I've always got escape artists when I'm working with this pan. In go the mushrooms. Now I'm not adding salt to this because I'm going to be adding beef stock in as well, and that's got plenty of salt in it. And we just want these to brown nicely. You want to keep this moving because the font at the bottom of the pan, that's where a lot of the flavor is. So when I add the beef stock in, I'll use that liquid just to help loosen the font at the bottom. In with the beef stock. And it's 1 stock cube, roughly 200 milliliters of water. So I've got the stove on medium heat. I'm going to let this reduce slowly. I'm not going to charge it up to high heat. Okay, and I'm going to add the pepper and the paprika once I've put the cream in. As you're stirring around the pan, just make sure that you're loosening the font at the bottom as well, because that font is flavor. When I add in the cream cheese and the cream, I'm going to put the rice on, and then they should be done sort of more or less at the same time. While you're busy watching this boil away, feel free to like the video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you want to subscribe to the channel, feel free to do so. Hit that big red button in the bottom right of your screen, or just below the screen, and then right next door to it is the bell. That will notify you of future video uploads. So most likely what I will do is as soon as I start adding the cream cheese in, once that's melted, then I will turn the heat down to simmer. One of the ways that I know the sauce or the stock has reduced sufficiently is when you stir. If you pull it away, you'll see while it's thin, it fills in those gaps immediately. But once it starts thickening up and reducing, when you pull it away, you'll still see the bottom of the pan for a little bit before the rest of the liquid fills in that empty space. So yeah, this is a pretty easy dish to make. Two-pot cooking, just one for the stroganoff itself and then another pot for rice, and there you go, pretty much done and dusted. We'll do some oven roasted vegetables. We'll do that in the microwave. That'll go fairly quickly, so Chef Mike will earn his keep today. So let's do a quick check here. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Okay. So it slowly makes its way back into the gap. Alright. Time for the cream cheese. Alright, so 1 tablespoon of cream cheese. That goes in. Don't want to waste. Waste not, what not. I'm not going to be using this spoon again, so you might as well get all of it off. Alright, just break this up a little bit so it's easier to melt. Alright, so what I'm going to do right now is once this is almost melted, I'm going to start adding in the cream. First turn the temperature down, the heat down to simmer. Add the cream, put the pepper and the paprika in the sauce, and then let that simmer nicely. Let the beef finish cooking, soaking up the delicious juice. Knob of butter just to smooth out the sauce, and away you go. Alright, let's get this on to simmer. 100 ml of cream. Okay, remember you don't want it to boil, otherwise if it boils the cream will separate and will have a sour taste. Alright, pepper. That's about a teaspoon of black pepper, and then I suggest the same amount of paprika. Always start off with little bits of your seasoning, because that helps you adjust. Because if you add a lot all of a sudden right in the very beginning, then you need to reduce it somehow, and then you have to start adding stuff that you don't want to put in. So start with little bits and then season to taste slowly. You can always season up, but you can't always season down. Alright, taste. Oh, that's nice. Maybe just a crack more pepper. Alright, meat going into the pan. So because it's cooler now, the temperature in the pan will reduce and slowly it'll come up again. While this is going, I'm going to be putting a lid on the pan just to keep some of the moisture. I don't want the sauce to reduce too much, otherwise it becomes gloopy. I want to keep it thinner until the very last minute. So all it's going to do is just spritz away. We needed to develop those flavors into the meat as well. Right, we've got the rice going. It's coming on quite nicely. If you look just here, there's a couple of bubbles that are just busy popping at the moment. As I said, you want it to simmer because you want the meat to soak up all of that juice and flavor. One of the things I like to do with my rice is just before it reaches that al dente point, I like to take it off, strain it, get rid of all of the starchy water, rinse it off, put some water in the pot, put it back on the stove, put the colander in the pot so that it lets steam for that last little bit. For me, that just makes it nice and fluffy. Right, so the rice is busy steaming at the moment, so there's water in the pot, probably maybe like an inch or so of water. I've got the stove on low, on medium-low heat, so that water's going to slowly but surely warm up, come to the boil, and then steam up through the colander. Right, so while the rice is busy steaming, I'm going to take the lid off and then just let it remain open, because now you want the sauce to reduce a little bit, otherwise it's a little bit too watery. That should take another maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then we are ready to go. The important thing is, as you're going along, you want to test the consistency of the sauce as well as taste. Okay, this is starting to thicken up nicely. Give this a few more minutes. Important thing now is, what does it taste like? Oh wow, that is lovely. Alrighty, we are getting there. Vegetables should be done in about a minute. This sauce is perfect. Time to turn the stove off. The rice is practically done. It's going to be my favorite lunch this week. Alright, so final test before we dish up, and then I'm going to plate a portion and I'll get a shot of it. My wife is gagging for a piece, so maybe I should give it to her and then she will give you her comments off camera. Okay, she's shaking her head furiously. I don't want to do this. Okay, cheers. I think I just died and went to heaven. Alright, and I played up a portion, and I'll put a shot of it at the end of this video. Guys, have a fantastic Sunday. Like and subscribe. Share it the hell out of it, because this is really, really nice. Alright, see you again soon. Cheers.